Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kevindiana Jones Show. We are in the middle of season 3, about 4 episodes left, I think, 3 or 4, so about halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. We are in the middle of a heat wave here in New York, so I don't know why the hell I'm wearing all this. It's like 92 degrees outside, and that's not something I can do right now. I can't wear a tie when it's 92 degrees outside, all right? A little out of sight for you, George Clooney. Anyone? No? Steven Soderbergh? Great movie. Wonderful movie. Anywho. Yeah, that was a little bit. I did a bit. That little bit is going to cost me because I'm already hot and sweaty. But that's part of the costume, I suppose. That's how we go. Anyways, hi everybody. Good to have you here. Good to have you with us, whether you're watching live here on Instagram, later on Instagram, or on YouTube. It doesn't matter. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your views. Appreciate your viewership, your audienceness. Is that a word? It is now. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's great to have you. Apologies for last week. It happens. My guest was trapped out of state on a layover, and I, of all people, know what that can be like. So. What can you do? But we'll have him back on later. Adam Carolian will be on the show as my season finale guest. I think I might do a final of the season by myself. Perhaps Superman based because that movie will have just come out. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, thanks for watching. A little update on my gum surgery since I didn't get to show you last time. All gone. It's all done. It was on this side. I don't know why I pointed on this side. This side's the last. This is finally the last one. Quadrants. Boom, boom, boom. Final. And yeah, it's I'm happy with how things have turned out. Your gums are connected to your heart and your brain, so make sure you're getting all that stuff checked out, because if that goes bad, that can go bad and that can go bad. For real, it really can. So yeah. So the past 2 weeks in Indy. Not a whole lot, although one really awesome thing did happen. I got to see Last Crusade in theaters with my good friends Alex Curtis and Matt Clark. Also had a great chance to meet Jake Shapiro, who is part of the New York Jones crew now, and a new fellow, Lawrence, I forget his last name, but he was dressed as Indy as well. That was really cool. All of us talked for about an hour after the movie. There was a couple other people there that were just talking to us. They saw us dressed up and they were fascinated by it. And it was awesome. It was really cool. A whole hour talking just about gear, where to get it, what to do, just the community in general. It's a cool feeling to just stand there and answer questions as if we were almost a bit of a celebrity. So that was real neat. It seems like the lighting's going in and out. That's odd. I don't know why. Whatever, who cares? The interesting thing that night was the reaction some people would have. Most people were like, hey, cool, look, if they even noticed, because again, we're in New York City, not many people really notice what you're dressed like. It's a true thing. I rarely get gawked at when I'm in this outfit. It's pretty bonkers, but when you walk around New York City for 5 minutes, you'll see, oh no, yeah, no one's looking at me, look at that crazy asshole. Oh man, look at her, yeah, her boobies are hanging out and bopping on her knees. That happens, man. Sometimes you have to be the one to say, like, Miss, you have to pull that up, pull that up. Weird tangent. New York City, what a hell of a town. Yeah, but that was a really fun time, except for those clowns that were like, hey, what are you doing? What is this? Why are you guys dressed like that? Why are there 3 of you? And you just be like, oh, we're watching Last Crusade. Why? Because it's back in theaters. But why are you dressed like this? Because we're in a cosplay group. It's fun. Because it's fun. And you can see when you say the words "it's fun" to them, their brain just goes like they're just so steeped in misery and anger they couldn't really handle it, and that was just that killed it for them. They were just like, oh okay, whatever. And they would just be like, yeah. Do you not remember fun? I mean, I don't understand how that can be, but I guess plenty of people out there do not have fun, which is odd, because that's what this is all about. This is all fun. This is all fun. So look, fun. Fucking fun as shit. Fun. Expensive fun, but all all just fun. Come on, people. And then the last reaction we had, well, second to last, but when we were still in the movie theater, there was this family that was coming down the escalator, and the dad just went, "Oh, keeping up with the Joneses, look at this." And the whole family was just, there was maybe five of them, were just like, "Oh, wow, look at them." And the mom just kind of had her phone out, just like, "Do you mind if we?" And I was like, "Do you want to take pictures of us?" So we all had, three took pictures, and then the family members got in, took pictures with us, and at the end, the mom was just so happy and just kind of like shuffling towards me almost with her arms out, and I was like, do you want to hug? I think we should probably hug now." So we hugged, and then the dad hugged, and then the kids, I think some of the kids even hugged, all three of us. It was just such a fantastic experience. And, the hour after with the people talking, and then that kind of thing with the family, that adds so much to this cosplay thing. It's something you don't expect to happen, but it does happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, woo-hoo-hoo! It's like eating a superpower mushroom from Mario Brothers. I guess just a regular mushroom. There, the lighting's going in and out. I don't know why. I don't get it. I kind of like it better when it gets a little dimmer. I don't know. We'll let it ride. I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna care. Anyway, so I did also order a couple of new bag straps from Make It Jones, the wonderful leather maker over in Europe. The two I had, I will not say who made them because I don't want to, I don't want to slander them or anything. Okay, no, that is pissing me off. What the hell's happening? Why is doing this? Is there's like a smudge on there or something? Maybe I should just turn it up a little more. Anyway, so yeah, the two bag straps I had before were staining the shit out of my shirts, and that was really pissing me off. So if you want to know who it is, you can message me later, ask who it is, because I don't want to just outright come out and say, because I might just be an anomaly, or not, because I know a couple other people have gone through this too, which is a bummer, because it's a beautiful product, it's wonderful looking, and not cheap. But hey, what can you do? That's a whole part of the system. So yeah, I have some Make It Jones straps coming. That'll be really cool to install into the new things. But luckily, my dry cleaner was able to get most of the stains out of my favorite shirt, the first Berlin round from Carolean. And also they fixed my my tears that result. I'm sure many of you go through this when you're rolling up your sleeves, then you accidentally do it too soon, and then whoops, and scoops, and it rips open. Luckily, it hasn't happened on these, but yeah, I ripped them open. I didn't think there was any hope, and they just fixed it on their own. I'm so happy about that. A nice shout out to Chic Cleaners in Astoria, Queens. I know they're watching. Of course they're watching. Why wouldn't they not be? Why wouldn't they be watching this show right now? Come on already. So yeah, I look forward to doing that. That's pretty much all I have coming at this point, because as you saw for the last couple episodes, my other two jackets from Steele and Jones came, and I've just been adoring them so much. And I truly don't need any more jackets. What a feeling. Oh, what a feeling. I can't remember the lyrics to that song from Flashdance, which is probably for the best. Anyways, we have a great show tonight. We're going to talk about stuff that we've kind of talked about a few things here and there through the show, but never just fully this topic. Friendship, the friends of Indiana Jones. And each movie he has friends in every one of them and every place. And we touched on this, I think, in the last episode. But it's just something that I've wanted to talk about further. And who better to talk to about it with than someone that I met right off the bat when I went to California and met Scott Taylor, which was someone that I've been looking forward to meeting for so long. And then here he was also with him. I was just like, oh, hello. And it was just a new fella that I met, because I hadn't really talked to him online that much. But there he was, and he was just such a joy. And then he came in later, months later, to my restaurant, actually, to surprise me. And it was just, I knew he was in town, but he surprised me there, and it was just so cool to see him. I can't wait to talk to him about all this stuff. Please welcome to the show, Indie Hat Guy himself, Eddie Agin. All right, so let's get ready to raise this up. To raise the roof, if you will. Boom! Hell yeah! There we go.
Hi.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Good to have you. Wow,
I'm
look at
also surrounded by my fun. All sorts
I,
of fun.
I
Fun.
I need to be there and play with these things. Oh my God, look at all that stuff. That is so
Uh,
cool.
this is all like 2008 stuff from way back when. It's a bit crowded in here, but I was like, oh, I got to show off the collection.
No, hell yeah, you have to. And realistically, you probably could eat those M&Ms. They probably are still edible.
Yeah,
That looks
probably.
awesome. Who made your hat? By the way, that looks,
This right here,
yeah.
that's a Herbert Johnson.
There we go.
Yep,
I
there you
should
go.
have known.
I was
Oh
gonna say,
man.
I have a very wonderful rabbit dial that stays kind of in its casings, but I found a friend who has the same head size, and I normally don't necessarily buy that, but I was hovering over purchase, and shipping's been fun this year, so I was like, it's in the
Yeah.
States, great.
Oh, that's so awesome, man. That looks beautiful on you, and that the color is fantastic too. Uh,
Great, yeah.
well done on that. Well done on that. So yeah, it was great to see you in New York when however long ago that was when you went to the Great Circle thing. I don't think you were here just for
September.
that, or were you? I don't know. Were you
I
here?
was there just for that.
I love it. Oh, I thought that might be the case. That's so fantastic. Yeah, that was such a cool surprise when you came into my restaurant. I'm so glad that that we can have you on the show. We meaning me.
Well, the
Um,
other Indy I'd met up with, Kevindiana Jones, he was like, "Oh, well, Kevin's over at his restaurant. You should go." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna run it."
Oh, that was so cool. That was such a great moment. That really made my day. That made my week really. But we have a great selection of questions for you. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about a wide range of things with you because I know you're into a few different things. And if we have time, perhaps later at the end, I may
Sure.
bring up a different topic other than Indiana Jones that I know you're very much into. But let's
Great,
go ahead and
thanks.
get started with the Kevin 11. You recently went to Orlando for the closing of the Amazing Muppets in 3D thing, which I'm so pissed that that's gone. You went with a bunch of indie friends. Do you know them only through indie cosplay?
So I had known Sarah for a while. She worked at Disneyland when I was there, and then I had met Amit and Maverick through Indy, and then just we kept hanging out. See, California Jones, we meet up, but not very frequently, and that's okay. There's plenty of events to be had, a lot of fun things. But then you just start getting used to the people that you're around and branch off, and you do your own things, and so we just kept hanging out, and then all of a sudden I was going for Muppet Vision 3D, and I said, hey, you guys should probably come too if you really want to. And they said, okay. And all of a sudden there we are, all four of us in Florida.
That was so cool. So fun to see documented. I love, not everyone really loves social media all the time, but I do because I get to experience that kind of stuff and others do as well. Because I don't know the next time I'll get to go to a theme park. It's going to be a good long time. But it looked
Nice.
like you all had such a fun time. And did you went to every single park?
Yes, we did, although some longer than shorter. I also may have swayed everyone to go to the new Universal Park, Epic Universe. I mean, it's there, it's new. You'd be beating yourself if you didn't go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I've heard nothing but amazing things about that place. I want to definitely check it out.
It's wonderful, and also an indie community member worked on Dark Universe. So
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's so cool. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I love how this is also connected to the people we know and the things we love. Like almost no matter where you go, you're going to find someone that's like that knows the hat, that recognizes the hat or something like that. Something you're wearing something that they'll recognize, and that's just so cool. That was the only question I had about Disney, but I want to ask you something more. As a matter of fact, what was your You've been there before plenty times, I've seen,
oh, many
but
times.
what is your favorite, the East Coast or West Coast when it comes to theme parks?
Oh gosh. I was gonna say I've now as of last year I went to all the different parks around the world. So that is a tricky question to parse. I like them both for different reasons. Uh, you know, California's Waltz Park, you can do a lot more in a single day, but then again, there's just how impressive it is to be in a huge place. The land size is twice the size of the island of Manhattan over in Disney World, and they do amazing things.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I used to go there so often. There ain't Universal. I know it's not as big, but learning how to walk through crowds and dealing with huge amounts of people and just going from one distance way to the hell to the other one in a short amount of time really helped me adapt to moving to New York City. It took me maybe 30 seconds to see the speed of the city and just be like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I've been born to do this. And I just like zipped into the sidewalk and it was so fantastic. And my, at the time, she's an ex-girlfriend, but she was just left in the dust. She was just fucking gone. And I just knew that I was just meant to be there. And it was such a cool feeling. And she wasn't. So, anywho, what of the Orlando parks was your favorite one?
I mean, specifically on that last trip here, Epic Universe is really fantastic, and
Awesome.
it's really well done and things like that. I know there's been a lot of changes lately where Epcot's a little different than it used to be. Animal Kingdom's still fantastic, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think they really knocked it out of the park with Epic Universe, and so I think that's my current obsession. It will change. It
Sure.
will change, but that right now is kind of I'm imagining myself back there very soon.
Oh man, when I used to live in Orlando, I'd go there all the time. And I unfortunately only went to Animal Kingdom, I think, twice. But I was very impressed with how that was. I know that was built in like '98, so it had been there for a while. But
Hmm.
there's just such a magic to all that. I really missed that. That the only thing we have here is Six Flags, the rides are fantastic, but there's so much that the queue adds and that the whole atmosphere adds that is not there, and it kind of takes away the whole experience. I guess the older you get, you want more of that rather than just like, hey, let's show up, take this awesome ride, and then just leave. There's a part of the magic is waiting half an hour and seeing these videos and these cool things, and not just a treat, not just that ride that you can't go on. It's really cool how they do all that stuff, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's part of it. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why they're the best. But I also like, me traveling all over, and I love seeing various different parks of all kinds. I was in Ireland, and I went to a potato chip themed amusement park. So,
What? I need to know. Tell what?
Tato Park. It's no longer Tato Park. The Tato sponsorship pulled out, so Emerald Park it
Fuckers.
be. But, but
Big
yes,
big Tato got to them.
Big Tato got to them.
Oh my God, I love potato chips, so I could spend ages there, I'm sure. Wow, I didn't know that existed. I want to know more. Okay, so let's go further with the actual Kevin 11. I got sidetracked with the theme park stuff. How would you rank friendship in the reasons to cosplay?
Oh gosh, I mean. I'd say it's very high up there. I mean,
Hmm.
you put all your effort and research or things like that. Indie is a even a difficult one because we have amazing makers that make things down to the bag straps and things like that. But you can opt in and you can start in any level. We appreciate people that just start with a Dorfman or just a brown hat. We and if your passion is there, that's all that really matters. And so once you get surrounded by those people, they start bringing you into the fold and you start like doing your own research or you make friends, you travel to different states. And it's really a key part of this whole experience, especially in the indie community. I'd say almost more than almost any other.
I think it's beautiful to see that. I didn't expect that at all, but I should have, because I did. It's not a cosplay community, but there was a Superman movie community that I used to be a part of that I was joined back in 1998, I think, maybe 1999, and still to this day, there's people I talk to very, very often, like more than weekly, like almost every other day. And there's just something that happens when you love a character so much, and other people kind of glom on to the other things you love and the other things you're interested in, and that's what furthers relationships. And it's just so cool to see happen all the time. uh, do you think that it's coincidence that Indy himself as a character has friends all over the world, and doing this cosplay thing ends up with us doing the same thing, having friends all over the world?
I think that's a key part of it because I mean, the fact that he can go right to Cairo and there's Sallah just waiting to lend a room or something like that, or even just as recent as Antonio, these relationships that are forged in the past. It's in your past. It's really key to the character, and really it defines how we go about it and how we create these friends all around the world. I've been saying that the indie community is smaller and more global than any other community, and everybody knows everyone, and it's really touching to me that we're able to take this inspiration of just indie my friend and things like that, and it just warms my heart that we're all together in that.
Yeah, it's something else. It really is something else that I've. This is only my third year doing this all, and I was scrolling through all these pictures that I've been doing since the very beginning, and just seeing my growth in all this, and then I see meeting people, and then I see myself meeting those people again and again, and then traveling across the country, like you said. And I mean, some people will travel across continents for crying out loud, and that's just
I
so
mean,
cool.
I'll give
Um,
you this also. That was one of the reasons why I felt really put out by missing the Hollywood premiere, is because it's in my backyard. I was out of the country, but the movie will be there. Things like that.
yeah,
I don't need to meet Harrison Ford. That's not on my docket. I'm not obsessive about the celebrities, but missing out seeing Ed from Australia and all the other people that flew out for this one event, it felt really bad. And I made up for that in a different way. But yeah, I still, that's still the key reason is I knew the people. I've known them for years. It's key.
that's so awesome. That's such a great answer. And in the movies themselves, we see really the first friend is Marcus Brody, who's almost maybe more of a father figure to Indy, but he's also a friend. What are your thoughts on that character in Raiders, particularly?
I mean, I've done a lot of research. I have a degree in film, so I'm always key on people breaking down the different parts of the movies. And I've heard, you know, the more I critically analyze Last Crusade, I see that, yeah, it goes for the more funny angle, and that really, I feel, detracts from the sincerity of the character of Marcus in Raiders. And when you look at that, you're right. He's more of a father figure. He's an equal and a mentor, and they're really just good friends. They come over, they hug, he goes to his place. He gives
They're
him a
drinking together.
severe drinking together, gives him a severe warning. Yeah, be careful. This one's big.
Yeah,
It's that kind of friend that you really want or need. It's really like somebody who's there to watch your back.
right. You could tell he'd be the type of person to tell Indy he has a big old booger hanging from his nose.
Right.
Sallah later shows up, who is my personal favorite of all of Indy's friends. You don't have a booger, by the way. I was just making an example. It really seems like Indy kind of has to watch his back for a lot of his friends to maybe double cross him. But it never really seems that Sallah is that guy. How do you feel about Sallah in Raiders?
I gosh, I mean, he's like you say, dependable, and it's it's the first example that we get outside of the college where he's bosom buddies with somebody, and like you say, somebody who's not going to stab him in the back, and it's first explained in the scene. And it's I think what's great about it is it starts off with this, oh, there's Sala, and then you get introduced to this huge family, and you're a little bit lost in the sauce of, oh, now there's a wife and there's all these kids and things like that. And then the movie just decides we're sitting them down and they're going to have a talk. And same thing as Marcus. He's going to give him, the information he needs. It's Belloc, all these things happening. But also, yeah, are you sure you want to go after this? It's
There's
it's
something that troubles me. Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right.
the passion of Indy is going after the object, but I think it's really there for his friends to be like, are you sure you want to go? And yeah, he does.
That makes so much sense. That's beautifully thought of. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. And the next one, of course, we get short round. I wrote
Oh,
Data on the question, by the way. I wrote Data, not short round. Data is his friend and sidekick in the second one. And in fact, I feel like short round might be the most integral of all of Indy's friends because he is the one that gets him out of the Black Sleep of Kali with the flame to his
Mhm.
side. Had Short Round not done that, Willie would have been dead. Who knows what would have happened to Indy, for Christ's sakes. That's just an incredible example of how badass Short Round and how important he is to the character. How long do you think he stuck around after Temple of Doom? And what do you think he did with his life?
Oh gosh. See, I'm not usually one to kind of posit those things, but I do deep dive into, I don't have it in this collection, but I have the expanded universe comics and things
Hmm.
like that. So I love deep diving into the idea of, you know, how these things came about, where Short Round came from, where he's going, things like that. I'd love to see that explored more.
Yeah.
But the uh the interesting thing about Short Round is his character in that movie. This is the reason why people love Temple Doom is, Indy has that huge character arc from Fortune and Glory to it doesn't matter. The Rock means more to the people than it does to me. And Short Round is a huge part of that journey. He is the one character that Indy can rely on, but he's also a pickpocket, a thief, things like that. And Indy just becomes the father figure that Short Round needs and also he needs in a
Yeah.
way.
He's the father figure that he himself kind of wants in a way. You're good at this, man. You're good. You're good. Um,
Degree in film. I study this a lot.
that makes sense. That makes sense. So Marcus returns in the next one, of course, Last Crusade, but he's out of his element, as we already talked. He's the bumbling buffoon. Uh, do you think they did that to on purpose to show that look out of his elements? He's a bumbling buffoon, or do you think they were just like, we need something funny in this? And they just added that to it.
I think it started as like a fish out of water idea, and then the idea being is there's a lot of. I mean, for as much as I said it's a very light film, there are very heavy elements when he's involved. So he becomes kind of the comedic element, the comic relief. He's the C-3PO of the scene, essentially. But speaking of friendship, I like that they forged kind of a relationship between him and Henry Jones Sr. And they
Absolutely.
become like bosom buddies. They've got their little secret handshake. They were in a kind of fraternity together. It's a really good way to turn that character and still maintain that heart that he has, because that could have easily just been dropped or not existed, and it adds so much to Marcus, especially because I'm pretty sure they picked that up in an episode of, or that handshake in an episode of Young Indy.
Do they really? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
not
such a
not
I love
particularly Marcus, but with Henry Senior. So now
the
you know
distant
that's oh,
general.
it's a thing.
I think I'm going off of what you said about kind of humanizing Marcus and giving him more. It does the same for Henry. It does the same for
Yeah,
him because it shows him that he has a fun past. Look at him, like it may be a little stuffy of a past, but clearly this dude has done some things in his youth with this guy in particular that you could tell that they had some adventures, and it's just so cool to see the juxtaposition of old and well, relatively new with Indy himself and his father with this guy who's been on adventures with both of them. And it's just such a cool thing that it adds another element to Last Crusade that I hadn't really thought about till now. That you really, there's a lot going on in the past that we never see or will probably ever see. But it's really loaded there just with that little handshake that they do and the way that they talk to each other. That's a really good point.
it's something very loaded too, where you get that there's a big analysis to be done of who Henry Senior considers his equal, because in front of Marcus they're best friends and they work really well together, but he's also like, oh, you didn't drag poor Marcus along on this, and so he has he demeans and does not think highly of his son until then things change, and now they're on an equal playing field. I mean, they're both doctors, but he respects Marcus of all
Right.
people.
Well, yeah, that's sometimes how it goes, I guess.
It's true.
There's a lot more to these movies than just action and adventure. That there's a lot of pathos behind these characters that you get hints of in each one of these movies that it doesn't linger on. but you pick up on things. I'm sure that it was on purpose just to give the actors more to do, but you see that there's something Marcus is doing because he knows his father isn't doing it. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's watching out for his son, for Henry's son there. And then in Temple of Doom, like you said, Indy himself ends up becoming a bit of the father figure towards the end. And it's a wonderful change, and perhaps the only change really that we get in the movies. And Short Round does play a huge part of that. But in Last Crusade, we also get Sallah returning, and he kind of this time gets a little more to do, sort of, because he's involved in the action scenes this time. This time he actually gets to punch people, as a matter of fact, and he's on the horses and stuff like that. Do you think that there was more, perhaps, that he wanted to do in Dial of Destiny than just that little bit?
Oh, certainly. I think I feel that Dial's creative paths of just how long it took to get to where it was and actually come out. You know, the various actors of various different roles all had different hopes and wants and things like that. And Dial
Yeah.
is the film that we got. But yeah, I certainly think that John would definitely have been up for a larger role.
Yeah, I would figure that both him and Karen Allen at some point. I feel like, well, we'll get to that. We'll go to the next couple questions. Because I just wanted to bring up Sallah again. You can't forget that Sallah also comes back. But yeah, in the next one, Crystal Skull. Max seems
Yes.
like he was a friend to Indy, but then double crosses him, triple crosses him, whatever the fuck he does. Due to his lifestyle, do you think that this sort of relationship happens to Indy all the time with his friends?
I mean, I, yeah, and the sense of danger is always there too. I mean, not a betrayal, but Wuhan puts his life on the line.
Yeah.
First thing. But yeah, Mac is one of the interesting ones where, and I know there was the novel. Actually, I have the Pearl from the novel behind me, but
Cool.
it's the Army of Darkness, I believe it is, and
Hmm.
that dives in a little bit to the Mac history. I want to know so much more though about how Indy got to the point where he would be friends with Mac, knowing it. Mac does not hide a lot of things either. He hides stuff, but he's very, yeah, that's treasure, right? I want that treasure. So it would be very interesting to take a deep dive into their relationship on the onset rather than where we see it in Crystal Skull, where obviously things have turned and then turned again and then turned again.
And then turn again. But do they turn again, or that there's only the three turns? I think. I don't
Wait,
even know.
triple agent? Yeah, yeah.
You brought up Wuhan, and that's a great point because we don't get a whole lot of him. But again, you get to see right off the bat he's got friends everywhere. He's got friends in high places, low places, and I believe in one of the video games he actually plays a big part. But the things we're talking about are just things that are so ripe for an animated series to do. And I just hope anyone that's listening and has power is thinking, hey, maybe we could do the things these guys dressed up like him are talking about. That would be
I would
awesome.
love that.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like we talked about, Salah returns and Dial of Destiny, but then we also get Antonio Banderas, and I really thought we were going to get more from him, but what little bit we got, you could tell once again, everywhere he goes, he's got friends that are willing to lay their lives on the line for Indiana Jones. And Antonio Banderas he added so much to just those, what, 5-10 minutes of life. What did you think of his character in that movie?
Well, I mean, in terms of friendship, I think that it shows that more than a lot of things that I really relate to because time moves on. That's the whole theme of the film. And the idea of Indy has friends everywhere, but he hasn't been on an adventure in a little bit that we know of. And, he knows Spain's greatest frogman. But now he's old and he has a boat that's just falling apart and things like that.
He got a
But
limp. I want to know why he has that limp. There's a good story
Mhm.
behind that limp, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he trusts him, and they trust each other, and to the end even, and his entire crew. So it's such a maybe Antonio Banderas is a little bit wasted in the idea that he's only there for such a short time, but what an impact that character has on Indy's life and adventure, and you know maybe Helena shirks it off, but
But
Indy
what
is
he does
certainly there.
when she does try to just be like, ha ha ha, we did it. And he's like, that was my friend. He just died. That really is a moment that it's something that I don't think he would have done as a younger man. And it's a moment that I've always really liked because a lot of times in action movies, these guys, like the main character's best friend will be just blown apart and he's just
Mhm.
going away making quips and we're like, well, whatever, ha ha ha, let's go on to the next thing. But you actually see Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, mourning the character. And it's such a tragic death because he's just trying to help everyone. And there's there's things in me that wonder what would be different had Spielberg made this movie versus what we
Yes.
got. And I feel like there are things that we did get with Mangold that we wouldn't have gotten with Spielberg. And parts of me is like, maybe it's better that way because I know Spielberg probably would have brought back Marion and Sallah for a lot more than what they
Hmm.
showed up for, but what we got was kind of a new path for Indy to take with a new kind of child almost in a way because he lost his son and now he just kind of gained his daughter and in a way it starts off as she's a friend's daughter, so it's kind of more like a niece, but towards the end of it she's begging him to come back like a father, and that's just something that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this friendship with Basil. And I really
Yeah.
love that they have it's weird for a flashback scene to exist in an Indiana Jones movie, but at the same time, it really sets forth the fact that when he does settle down and he still has all these friends all over the world, and that's why it just maintains. Do you think that kind of thing was on purpose that they showed that flashback just to show that throughout his life he maintains these relationships with these people?
Oh, certainly. And I will admit I'm incredibly biased because I love Toby Jones, and I don't think there would
Yeah.
honestly for a flashback 40s sequence, I don't think there's an actor on the market today better than Toby Jones to have been the indie friend of Indy
I
as
can't think of one.
type of character, a professor, a kind of fish out of water Marcus Brody type.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, they certainly show that that's if anything, that's one of the reasons, like you say, it feels odd that it's not Spielberg directing and it feels kind of mangledy. Where man, Solid just shows up.
Yeah.
Marcus is just always there. These characters, they're serialized. They're very, Marcus is at the museum and things like that. So the idea that Indy keeps tabs on his friends and flies out to Oxford to have a meeting with Basil about this dial that they had, it's heartwarming but also tragic in that particular instance. But he these are his friends, and then his their families become his friends. I mean, like I said, all of Salah's children, things like that. That's a little overwhelming in the film, but he's helping putting them in the truck and things like that. He does his part for his friends.
Beautifully said. And they do the same for him.
Hmm.
And that's something that we can all learn from, for crying out loud. And I feel like once we put this hat on and we get to a certain point, most of us probably see that. That's the case. That's what happens with the character and then loving the character. You have friends that are there for you. When you're having a bad day, you're having a really bad day, you're having like the worst day of your life. God damn it, the Indiana Jones community is going to be there for you. It's really, really something. It's really, really crazy. Um, That does it for the Kevin 11, as a matter of fact. But so I think if you have some more time, I would love to bring up a different topic
Sure.
of
I,
something
I
near.
was gonna say I'm kind of a Renaissance guy. I got a lot of things, so
You are indeed, but I saw some pictures of you dressed like one of my favorite characters in cinematic history, Doc Brown,
yes.
and I was just wondering if you wanted to talk a little bit of Back to the Future with me, real quick.
I would love to talk a little bit about Back to the Future. Absolutely.
Excellent. So yeah, the when you were dressed in that outfit, were you what was all that about? As
So that
Doc,
was
right?
I was dressed up as Doc Brown for Universal Fan Fest. So, uh, yeah, the
Oh,
nighttime activities at various different parks have been very popular for the Halloween events, the holiday seasons, things like that. So, looking to kind of capitalize on more of that, Universal Hollywood said, well, what if we did something like a Comic Con, but for a theme park? And so for like 6 hours of the evening, all the way to 2 a.m., everything in the park, like all there were specific attractions based around different fandoms. So there was Star Trek, there was One Piece, there was Dungeons and Dragons, but the centerpiece of it all was because they shot Back to the Future on Courthouse Square in Universal Studios Hollywood.
actually there.
Yep. They recreated the set as it looked and then brought in actors to portray the different characters. And they would run through a 45-minute loop. And they have to hit key scenes of the film to get everything through. But but then in between, you're allowed to interact with them. You're allowed to give George dating tips. You're allowed to talk with Lorraine about, the dance and what she's going to
No.
wear. It's Back to the Future LARP.
That is fucking amazing. Oh my God, that is so cool. And is
It's
that happening
fantastic.
again, or is that just a one-time thing?
It's coming back next year. That was just announced a couple weeks ago. So you
Wow.
make your way out this way.
That sounds like something that's really required. I feel like if you have something like this in your possession, you should probably try to
That
do something like that.
that and you have to get to the mall because uh, things are going to happen there soon. So I think last year was huge because there was rumors of demolition and things like that. It hasn't necessarily been touched yet. So I'm pretty sure, don't take this verbatim. Things could happen, tomorrow. But
Exactly.
this year should have we should still be able to have our celebration. It's the same time as Marty arrived between the 25th and the 26th of October, 1:15 a.m.
That's awesome. Is there anything still in that mall? Is it still a functioning mall?
I mean, there's stuff in it. It's kind of dead mall at this point, so it's not a lot of stuff in it. But it is, but there are things in there. One of the things they have in there is during the 2015 30th anniversary celebrations, they recreated the Twin Pines Mall. Oh yeah,
Mm.
they recreated the Twin Pines Mall sign, and so that's inside there.
That is awesome. God, that makes me so happy. I watched that movie maybe I think 7 times in theaters back in 1985 when it came out, and since then, that's maybe that and Goonies. You put that on mute, I'm gonna get almost every single line right, inflection, pitch, tone, everything. And those movies are so important to me uh, that when I lived in Orlando or lived near Orlando, and that ride came out for the first time back in I can't remember 1990, 91. That was just nothing else could come close. That was just amazing, and that was when Universal really stepped up their cue because they had Doc Brown doing certain things. They had the woman who was in the gang from Back to the Future 2 as the newscaster, and some of the sequences, which are all online or on the disc set. But it was just so cool to have that access as a Back to the Future fan. You were able to ride the ride, right?
Oh, I found Back to the Future thankfully like 2 years before the ride closed, and then spent a lot of time riding the ride. I was there on the last day of the ride, and I'm actually on a Fox 11 News like blurb about, hey, the ride's closing. Some fanatic fans were dressed for the occasion, and there I was as a kid, still dressed up as Doc Brown.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God. So you're somewhat recent to Back to the Future then, is what you're
I
saying.
mean, talking 2005 there.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a good while.
But
Yeah,
I
there's
love it so
something.
much.
Do you have a favorite one? Like, if you have a favorite one, and if you do, is it like leaps and bounds or is it close?
I love Back to the Future too. I love it so much. I know it's got its issues, but and again, Back to the Future one is like an undeniable classic. But oh man, the
It's
idea of
perfect.
just the
No denying
future.
it's perfect.
Yep. coming around on itself, and it's just so brilliantly done. And I think even its flaws like make it better.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely. I feel I don't think I've ever really watched it with a critical eye because that and I mean I can watch Last Crusade with a critical eye, but when I watch Back to the Future too, there's just something in me that just shuts down. I'm just like, I am the 90-year-old kid again, and it's my favorite thing. And the fact that we live in an age now where stuff is made, you can buy it and actually have it. Do you have any props from that movie
I was
by
like,
any chance?
hang on. I'm not in my Back to the Future section, nor is it prepared. But I have my DeLoreans and things like that.
Oh,
And then, sorry, behind the Thomas the Tank Engine, that authorized personnel only sign is from the ride.
oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my
Oh yeah,
God.
no, I love the ride. Also, might be one of my favorite like pieces of media. I also did a deep dive when I was young. Like I if I love something like I do Indiana Jones or Back to the Future, I gobble up every single piece of media. And the animated series,
Same.
oh man, so good. Bill Nye the Science Guy's in there. You've got both. For the live action sequences, Christopher Lloyd is Doc Brown, and then Dan Castellaneta is Doc Brown. So in the weirdest way, Homer Simpson is Doc Brown,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I still hold a grudge against the Simpsons ride, but there's that.
Yep. As well. It's a great ride, but they could have just built another one for Christ. They could have fixed up Back to the Future, but regardless, it's my favorite is obviously the hoverboard that I have, but I was also able to get this
Ah,
from
yes.
the actual Back to the Future website, Gray's Sports Almanac,
And the
with
receipt on the side.
with the blue receipt, and it is truly filled with sports
Oh,
statistics. And you know, yay! It's once again fun.
yep. I was gonna say my room is a complete mess right now, but I'm full of it. This is a room of passion. Obviously, I was a Jungle Cruise skipper, so there's Jungle Cruise boat. I have the I've been you've been leaning against the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean toy that's extremely rare. Jurassic Park
The
Jeep.
Lego set,
Was that
is that the Lego set?
this?
Yeah.
No, this was Spin Master or something.
Oh,
No,
oh,
Jack's
there was a
Jack
little hole
Pacific.
that made it look Lego-esque. Oh,
I was
wow.
gonna say, yeah, no, it's a big boy. It's a full thing, but it's I've had that for very long. I'm very fortunate. I mean, I've got my Slave One here, my hat popcorn bucket from the UK for Dial of Destiny.
Nice.
All sorts of things. Yeah, I'm deep in the sauce when I love something. So
So you are a collector. See, I've been thinking about this. You know, I tend to go overboard with things, but then I think, wait, do I go overboard or am I just a collector? Because I don't take anything I have for granted. I love everything I have. I went nuts with Indiana Jones stuff, but I have thousands of comic books, and just right next to where we're doing this show is my Lego display, which I love Lego so much, and you know, I made a little beach scene with a
like a
roller
Coney
coaster.
Island.
Yeah, it's definitely it's waned since becoming a cosplayer, but I love my Lego, and I have so many that when I am ready to retire, I am ready to retire.
Right. They're packed away, but I have all the 2008 indie sets. I have the 2023 ones, but I haven't built them yet because I kind of already have them in the 2008 ones, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, no, there's something about you know it's gonna sound sappy, maybe a little psychotic, but it's kind of like these things are the closest you get to having a friend from something that isn't like, yeah, I love getting to know the people and the real people behind the cosplays, but having this ship, I look over and it reminds me of, the there's the bring me that horizon, all these moments that feel that warm my heart, that bring me joy, and just being surrounded by it is you know, it makes me happy.
Know exactly what you mean, and especially the thing about like having a friend actually there. It's, you know, we make jokes about when we get something made by somebody. They're like, oh, it's like they have the magic ticket from Last Action Hero and they just got it out of the movie screen. But there's something really, that movie touches on something that movie characters can be something far beyond what a movie character is supposed to be for certain people, and Indiana Jones clearly is that. He's maybe a father figure to some, but he's a friend to all. And I feel like there is no possible way that I could end this better than to saying thank you for being my good friend and thank you for coming on the show. I can't wait to have you on again. And I hope to see you again soon, of course. Obviously, in
Absolutely.
person, I would love to see you in person someday again.
Absolutely. If I'm in New York, or if you're coming by for the October meet at the mall or Fan Fest or something like that, come on by. We'll do that. My other passion, tiki. We'll go get tiki drinks at a tiki bar. It'll be great.
I can do that. I would love to do that. But before you go, I do have the closing question. If you could tell yourself anything when you were 9 years old, what would it be?
Gosh, how old would I have been at 9? It's like, because I'm thinking, I'm like, man, you're gonna get two more Indiana Jones movies, and one of them you're gonna feel very alone in a way. Like you're gonna have a lot of fun. Spielberg's coming back. That's great, but you're gonna feel like, yeah, that happened, and there was no one around to celebrate it. And then you're gonna get another one, and you're gonna have the best friends of your life right there with you, and still talking about it 2 years later, and just filled with joy.
What an answer. You just filled my heart, pal. You just filled my heart. Thank you so much. You're a joy to have on. Excellent
Oh,
answers for every single thing I asked. I appreciate you coming on, and we will talk soon. We will talk soon, my friend.
absolutely. Yeah, drop me a line.
I shall. I shall. Have a great night.
Have a good one, Kungaloosh.
Bye bye, Eddie. Oh, what a guy. That was terrific. I um I really love talking about this stuff, and I love that I have so many more topics that I have to bring up like this one. You know, there's stuff that we bring up every now and then, but we could really dive into further. And I have other ideas for other shows. I also have plans for perhaps an entire season of not talking about Indiana Jones at all, but each episode being its own thing, its own fandom type thing. I think maybe towards the end of the year or whenever my next season begins, probably January-ish. I already have some things planned for, Back to the Future, Superman, Die Hard, like we already talked about. And I think that would be a cool thing to do, just to see what happens, because the Indiana Jones is so fun to talk about, but I want to talk about other things. I want to talk about other things with you. Yeah, so we'll do that, but we still have more show to come this season, and next week is going to be very important to me because it's going to be someone that I've looked up to since starting all of this, since I joined the Indiana Jones cosplay group on Facebook. This was someone that I saw their picture and I was just like, holy shit. Is that Harrison Ford's like cousin or something like that? It's someone that not only was an amazing cosplayer, but also just an amazing guy and friendly and supportive, very, very supportive. And I can't wait to talk to him next week. It's none other than what I think is probably the greatest Indiana Jones cosplayer out there, Fox Lidstone, will be joining me next Monday. I can't wait to talk to him. Until then, folks, have a great week. It's been wonderful being with you tonight. I hope you had a good time. I sure did. I certainly did. And thank you, Eddie, to coming on the show. I really appreciate you spending time with me. It's nice when people are willing to take time out of their lives and hang out with little old me in my Queens apartment. Oh, you can see my not Indiana Jones pants, but my gym shorts because it's hot and I'm not wearing long pants. Oh God, that's not going to happen until Jesus Christ, who knows? But yeah, see, shorts. I thought you don't need to see any further than that. Yeah, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. It's a pleasure to be a uh, part of your world. I almost started singing Little Mermaid, which I could do a show on that too. Do I still have? Okay, so I used to do a sketch comedy show, and one of the sketches I wrote was Ariel and Eric. Years later, the romance isn't there so much anymore, and I used to have a red wig. I wonder if I still have that. And yeah, I would do it as Ariel. Yeah, I would throw things off. Of course, I would do seashell bra on my titties. It'll change. It'll change minds. It'll change. It'll turn heads. I don't know what I'm talking about. Have a great week, folks. I'll see you next Monday at 8 p.m. with Fox. Um, I'm trying out a new thing to say every time, but this one's silly. It's almost reminiscent of what Jerry Springer used to say: "Be good to yourselves and be good to others, because the world needs it. God knows the world needs it right now." So yeah, have a good one. Take care. Good night. Bye bye.